Hey, MathKook here. This video contains one of many examples in my Algebra 2 library. The rest of those examples, along with hundreds of other videos, are only available at mathkook.com. Let's MathKook it up. This question says, Josh sells autographed baseballs that follow the demand function x equals negative 6p plus 420, where p equals price in dollars and p is between 0 and 70 here. There are 5 parts to this question. Let's start with part A. Part A says express revenue as a function of x. All right, so what is the general revenue function? Well, revenue in general equals quantity, or x, times price, because revenue by definition is the amount of money that comes into your business. So if you're selling something for P dollars times the number that you sell, the quantity, or x, that'll tell you how much money is coming into your business. All right, notice they want the revenue as a function of x though. So we need to somehow get rid of this P and make it in terms of x. So here's our formula that they give us for the demand function. So let's solve for P in this equation. So the first step is we're going to move the 420 over to the other side. 420's cancel. We're left with x minus 420 equals negative 6p. All right, so now we have to isolate p, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 6. So let's go ahead and do that. So divide everything by negative 6. The 6's cancel on the right side, so we'll go ahead and cross those off. And then I will write the p on the left side. All right, so this becomes negative 1/6x. I'm going to write that as negative 1/6x, which is the same thing as x over negative 6. And then here we have negative 420 over negative 6, which gives us positive 70. All right, so here's our p-value here. We're going to plug this in. Notice it's in terms of x. We're going to plug that in. I'm going to circle it. We're going to plug this in here for p here. All right, so then r of x is going to become x times negative 1/6x plus 70. All right, so we just simplify. We distribute our x here to both these terms. X times negative 1/6x is negative 1/6x squared. And then we have x times 70, which is just 70x. So pretty simple there. All right, so that is our answer for our revenue function in terms of x. So I'm going to write this guy here just so we have it handy. So r of x equals, that'll be negative 1/6x squared, and then plus 70x. All right, awesome. So there is our revenue function here. Next, part B. So let's go ahead and erase our work for part A. So now we're going to move on to part B. Part B says find the revenue if 50 baseballs are sold. Well, 50 is just the quantity, so we can plug that 50 in for revenue here. So I'll bring down our revenue function. So we're going to plug in 50 wherever we see x, and that'll give us the revenue when 50 baseballs are sold. All right, so we have plugged in 50 here wherever we see an x. All right, so now we simplify. So this will give us negative 1/6, and then if we plug in 50 for x there squared, that'll give us 2,500 plus 50 times 70, which gives us 3,500. So then we take 2,500 and divide it by negative 6, and we get negative 416.66. This goes forever, plus 3,500. Then we simplify that on our calculator, and then we get $3,083, and then we round to 2 decimals, so 33 cents. All right, so here is our revenue if we sold 50 baseballs. Okay, so I'll write that here. So our revenue is $3,083.33. Okay, let's go on to part C. So part C says, how many baseballs must be sold to maximize revenue? Okay, so baseballs is the X value. So if we bring down our revenue function here, so the number of baseballs is X, the quantity of baseballs. So they're asking us to solve for X to maximize revenue. So to maximize revenue, we're going to want to find the X value of the vertex is what they're asking for. And we know that this is a parabola because it's a quadratic function, and because it's negative here, we know the graph is going downward like that. So they're asking us for the X value of this point, of the vertex. So in this case, we're going to use x equals negative b over 2a to solve for x. So we'll write that over here. So x equals negative b over 2a. All right, so let's identify a and b. So a is right here. It's the coefficient in front of x squared. So that is negative 1/6. And then b is right here. So b is the coefficient in front of x, which is 70. All right, so let's go ahead and plug those values in. So we'll get negative b, so negative 70 over, and then 2 times negative 1/6. So this equals negative 70 over, and then 2 times negative 1/6 is negative 1/3. So we get 210. So to maximize our revenue, Josh needs to sell 210 baseballs. All right, so we'll put that answer here. So 210 baseballs. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and erase my work for part C, and we'll move on to part D. All right, part D says, what is the max revenue? Well, because we know the X value of the vertex, so let's bring up our diagram again. So we know that this X value is 210 baseballs. They're asking us for this here, the Y value of the vertex, which would give you our max revenue, because the revenue is the Y value of the vertex. So that is this guy here. Okay, so we want to find the revenue for when X is 210. So let's go ahead and plug in 210 here. Whenever I see an X, I will plug in 210 in red. All right, so we've plugged in 210 wherever we saw an X. So this is going to be negative 1/6, and then times 210 squared. So what is 210 squared? Well, that's 44,100 if you do that on your calculator. And then 70 times 210 will give you 14,700. All right, then what's 1/6 of 44,100? Well, if you do that in your calculator, it's negative 7350 plus the 14,700, which equals, ironically, 7350. All right, so that is our max revenue. So I'll write here max revenue, and that's in dollars. All right, so now we know our max revenue. So I'm going to go ahead and put that number right here. So our max revenue was $7,350. All right, so that answers part D. We're going to move on now to part E. What price should Josh charge to maximize revenue? Okay, so let's go ahead and erase this. So what price should he charge to maximize revenue? Well, our price function is this guy. And we know, remember, to maximize revenue, we know that Josh must sell 210 baseballs. We answered that in part C. So if X is 210, we want to plug in 210 here for X, and that'll tell us the price that Josh should charge to maximize revenue. So let's go ahead and plug in. So negative 1/6, and then we'll plug in our 210 plus 70. All right. So 210 divided by 6, if you do that on your calculator, you'll get negative 35 plus 70. So the price that Josh should charge is $35. All right. So that answers part E. So I'll write that here. So $35 should be the max, or should be the price that Josh should charge to maximize revenue. All right, we've answered all 5 parts of this question. Hey Kook, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. For unlimited access to all of my Algebra 2 videos, visit mathkook.com. Thanks for watching.